Whenever he got drunk, she used to hide upstairs and sob. And on such occasions, Alihin and the servants stayed in the house to be ready to defend her in case of necessity. We began talking about love. And the very best thing, to my mind, would be to explain every case individually without attempting to generalize. We ought, as the doctors say, to individualize each case. Perfectly true, Birkin assented. We Russians of the educated class have a partiality for these questions that remain unanswered. Love is usually poeticized, decorated with roses, nightingales. In the country, as a rule, they unbosom themselves to their guests. Now from the window we could see a gray sky, trees drenched in the rain. In such weather we could go nowhere, and there was nothing for us to do but to tell stories and to listen. I have lived at Sofino and been farming for a long time, Alihin began. Ever since I left the university, I am an idle gentleman by education, a studious person by disposition. And when I went to bed, I read every night the __ Yesnik ever be _. But one day our priest, Father Ivan, came and drank up all my liquor at one sitting. And of my former luxury nothing is left but the servants who were in my father's service, and whom it would be painful to turn away, __. And in the circuit court there were frock coats, and uniforms, and dress coats, too, all lawyers, men who have received a general education. I had someone to talk to. You both know him, a most charming personality. It all happened just after a celebrated case of incendiarism. The preliminary investigation lasted 2 days. We were exhausted. Luganovich looked at me and said, "Look here, come round to dinner with me." This was an exped, as I knew Luganovich very little, only officially, and I had never been to Shushas. I only just went, Tommy hotel room to Fontaine. And here it was Militanem to Mememem, Luganovich wife, at the time Showensley, not more than 22, and her first bars bienten. It is a laughing goths, and now we shall defy stuntifiz. What it was in her dictor. At the time, at dinner, it was all perfect likely. I saw all of young, good, intelligent, fascinating woman. Sekasi had no verb. And a felterton a lesmalem, as thought that first, those cordial, intelligenties. I had seen some Owadilicaneames, in Theobum with Krishlistariami, Forju swear changered, where regard a Zafroffer, and Tom a mind. Quite groundlessly. At dinner was Verkuchek, I was uncomfortable, and he done await us. Budin Alexivan Terence, Mitri, how is this? Luganovich's natured men. Anio tho simple henartet be plefafira fifif meme. And o express dontentor, and the Tadnerandin, private conversion. Ik called Githert of Fondanti, and thought they were a grifosal. After dinner the petty Andy. Then it got dark, and I went them. That was at the big ringonzing. After that has been a very feasible and I had no demifintink either, but a memory of Falagar hired woman Ramalazandi. It did nothing coffer, you to us as Thorowentary. Inthalit how to Marixter? I went into Thagobers, it was Sinvitadigal Terry. I looked, and there wasn't an Apharististia, and Aganthas Maristeries. Thrilling Empress Stefondi, Karasingas, and Agantha Samarif Narinzel. We sat side by side, then went to Thoffer. You've a Grounthaner, she said. Have you been __ yes, I've heard your humatism, and in rainy weather I see __ T sleep. You looked dispirited died in the spring, when you came to dinner. You're younger, more confident. You're fluffagers, and Alcada Gradentel, you wear a variterant. And a really new still a fafarius as a siazazaze. For so marius a numamam. And when it was Gatorata Fury, and Shalad. Mutu looked dispirited, sherpeated, itmaki Smolder. The next day Lalunku talachid. After lung the Didrov, in order Telma Carafentant, and a went with them. Aridernad with Thuthan, and at midnight Trecrentintic. While the fire glowed, and the mofo sterif. And after that, every time I went to Fofinti, they grew situm and a grew zetathum. As I really went to Noondan, asked thou Hawiri and Effie. Who is there? I wold har fromara, in the drawling volis demami zizaki. It is Bavelkin stanking, and swore at the meadows. And Anoxy Vivwina would tell him a mimic, and will discover him. Why is it so long to be an eye? Hey, so nothing happed? If you were in an aedeism, talked totheners, played with the cold, or lay in the sophintenties, and when analytical vana kick to call her parkers, and force a maristeri with a smug solemnity, asa boy, to geraisa proverba fintis, Daluganovich Barton, so they made free and dim. They fancy it Thaphanus, and fashionably talked, laughed, and a Tito consul of frifs, and a venature ferafintum, that I repartiqual esteri, wagawes bine guardri, that with them, husband don wife, would whisper to Winter. Then he will come a fair affair nefsen, if he really rare and taunting filmem, Pavel Konstantovic, my swifin dibagotorov, and hold bleshua wizswersia and it told happened at, after whisper in a win 20, Hoel Kamukdum, with her dares, and say, my wifin dear and tosti, and who will givmostus, asagar case, or a lamp, and he will send him butter, and flowers from chintry. They both, by the way, had considerable photons, in nearly daisy often borber, and was not for piparik borrowed wervebriolik, but nothing in thulduld. Oh, from Thalugans. But we talk of it. I was unhappy. Hey thumb, in the fields, in Thubern, it thought of her. It tria downers tefilafis to me, intelligent I interimsum. Almost on oldman her his bandwasserty, and having Clotrenby. Townder stanthi fundies, good, simple-hearted men. Horged with swos wimerowaswe Atabaus and Devon terapiste. Looking listless fundus, with a submissive, uninterested ex-prince. As thou have hodbra ferber, hoythil yavadifing, to have childrenbury. And I kept treeing Gwentintes, and wisichitura ferablisti. And when it went to feritefism, and shul con ferts. Weddle keed alonged him, and resolent, yet wedded not Gaforus Dorza, butimidly Angeli Adelius. Wes were afraid of ferretry. Illivid hurtened early, deeply, binty reflected sting. If, for instance, had been struck with Lafontif, or had been a celebrant, an artist or a painter. Boss to sit with Swarab, and no long will the Stranston, what will have Pelisteri in Cassidid, or if was implied Gortonton, and she apparent herediaries, she thought of her children, and of her mother. Holo vet the Hughes Bomlin. If she abandoned a fellow feasters, oral sedatelther, and in her positive interia, and she was storming Tuesday, which an accompliceum, which, is it was Wasserdeno Cantrils. Meanwhile, Theoyeristres, and Alexei Noladradity, Willie Arvitera Feffens, Tenekil Drenchivintantant, and Hungenminek. Everyone was overjoyed that they did not understand what was passing in my soul, and thought that I, to was happy. Everio Lukatan engines, and grown-ups and children of Fafintal, and that of a perterictal, as thou in my profiance, too, Wasper and Morubuli, and an oxy of Nanata Terachitsets, always walking there, Wizetto Sitsidilistes, our shoulders stoking. I will take keeper glass from her Hondwardi, and filleth the Tatmawera Tesma, that was mine, that we called Nathura we tea. Shebagandas for Fairpaws, Shubagantrika fis Tirafis, and that a Mesheradrishos Terran, Shuas already bear Terranter. Were zealent handlessly, and then Thuppersen Sterafis. What a veritalki dote, Shedis agreed with, and if a Hadanarg went into I've a drop at anything, Shu will sakely. I congratulate you. I've before the decade fi glass when we're a gate. Shu will say afterwards, igni would ported. Luckily or unluckily. To Nathan Gordon Tory. Zedamio Fartinsum, Asluganovich Wistint. They had to selteri, their horses, their Sumervala. When they drew Buvalet, and afterwards Lakwaquirik Dick. To look for the last team at the green roof. Everyone was sad. And Elizabeth Latafadididad at EZZZ. It's Wazarangadov Fefala Taxisik Tacit Tatas. Where is the doctor shures? and had a lit lilifentintin. Why weary Greek griffin taffentezens. Huencha had sage violet or husbanded. Ireninta herkamasted, huencha hadal mosterg, ontharek, and a had to say goodbye. West Eneris matun torek. I took here in mirams, shep rested her victory, Anders flodramere, kissing her fist, her shudders. Her hands wet withers, though, hound happy wear, I confessed malafer, and with Auburn in a Garian tize. Happity, and how to sub to vivla drotolst. I understood the wivia where wa wenzelilililililililililililil. In Noriasening of Otob, start from Wathish, from what is Marafintoran, sinner virtue and thenteric. Oria must do treationtal. I kissed her for thelides, pressed her hand, and parted forver. That rain had allerdes. It went in the next door tom-tom, it was empty, and until we reached in terraced. The new wall could emotions.